Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to this week's edition of the Art Cunningham Show. It's good to see you. And it's good that you're going to be with us for the next 30 minutes here on your favorite live cable TV show on Wednesday. And a pleasant Wednesday it has been. One in which we have had, someone tells me that the temperature reached the 80s today, and that's good for late August in Minnesota. So I hope that you've had a good week. I certainly have. Wish I could have shared some of it with you. But on this Wednesday evening, you have decided to spend some of your time with us, and we appreciate it. On this week's edition of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about violence, but mostly how to avoid it. And if you happen to get into it, what to do about it. I'll be back with my guest in a moment. Stay where you are. We'll be right back. My guests are from the Alternative to Violence Project, located in St. Paul. I have with me Demetria Carter, who is the outreach coordinator, and Erica Thorne, who is the coordinator. Welcome, ladies. I'm glad that you are with us on this pleasant Wednesday. I have been hearing a bit about your project, and I'm anxious to hear more about it. And I suspect that our viewers are kind of anxious to hear a bit about it also. So I guess I need to know, and I don't know, in talking with you, I don't know who is best prepared to tell me what your project does, its mission. Demetria, is that you?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that.
All right.
Our mission is to look at alternatives to violence. What we want to be able to do is to help people through a series of workshops really discover their own power. We call it transforming power. And you really want to discover what is it that you can do, because the only person you really can control is yourself. So what can you do, and what different choices can you make when you are confronted with a violent outbreak, whether it's physical or whether it's verbal, or an uncomfortable situation where you feel you need to act. And so our mission is to teach people through a series of workshops what some alternative skills are and how much power you have within yourself to be able to really do something about that.
Okay, we want to hear about the workshops in a moment, but not yet. What we want to know now is, Erica, how long has this organization been around? There's a lot of violence, and we could use thousands of organizations like yours. How long has your organization been around?
I wish I could say about 4,000 years. That would have been useful. But AVP started in 1975 in New York. So it's been 34 years for the organization of AVP. That was in New York. We've been working here in Minnesota for just over 16 years.
60. Now, I don't know how much of organizational history you have, but how did it get started?
Yes, it got started in the prison, the federal prison in Greenhaven, New York. And there were a group of inmates that were going to be part of a project to be able to hopefully mentor and help teach younger people who were up on a juvenile offense and were possibly headed into the pipeline that I'm afraid we all know too well, right to prison. The adult men said, if there is a way that we can help our young people find alternatives to this life, to responding to life situations with violence, but rather with nonviolence. And it just so happened there was a strong Quaker community, the Society of Friends, which does date back not thousands of years, but hundreds of years. And the men in the prison asked the Quakers to help them craft a workshop that could help provide an alternatives to violence. Bingo, AVP was born, and it's now in 32 states in the United States. It's part of the reconciliation process in Rwanda. It's used in Nigeria and a number of other countries throughout the world.
Now, does the St. Paul, your office is in St. Paul,
Yes.
Does that St. Paul office serve the entire state? What area, are you restricted in your area of service?
We try and serve the entire state. We probably sometimes we shouldn't, we're spread pretty thin, but what we try and do is look at our primary focus has been in the prison system and the jail system in Minnesota. And what we're trying to do now is to branch out more and connect that with the community. And primarily, as Erica was saying, it started in Greenhaven. I think the key there also is that it was the majority of those folks that were involved were African American men. And they were really looking to be able to look at what can we do to help our communities and what can we do to stop the cycle of violence. And that's what we've really picked up on and continued to do here in Minnesota and with AVP USA across the country.
Do you have a board of directors? How are you managed?
Well, that's a good question. We have a steering committee that is made up of the volunteers that actually conduct the workshop, facilitate each of the workshops. And then we report kind of dotted line to our AVP USA office. And
where is that located?
That headquarters is actually in kind of everywhere.
Yeah, right. It's a very dispersed thing, but we actually do have the distribution center of all the materials for AVP USA, actually here in our office in St. Paul. And then two of the key leadership areas are also New York State and California.
Now, you mentioned that you're mostly connected to the prison system. Any particular prison in the system that you're connected to?
Do you want
Yes,
to talk about that?
we're in 6 prison and jail sites right now. Faribault, these are now DOC, Department of Corrections, Minnesota. Faribault, both the minimum and the medium security. The Department of Corrections facility in Stillwater, which is a high-medium facility. And then at Hennepin County Workhouse, both the women's and the men's half. And then we are in the federal prison at Waseca, which has been converted to a women's prison from a men's prison.
So now you're connected. How do you get connected? Do they seek you out or you seek them out?
We try and do both. Erica has been really working hard on the connections with the federal facilities and the jail facilities. And my role, since I've started, is to be connected with the Hennepin County jail facilities and the community facilities. So to really operate that so that we continue to go in and do workshops on a regular monthly schedule at those locations.
Tell me, what do you do? How does that work? Tell me about your connection with the Hennepin County Workhouse. They called your office?
Actually, I'm not sure how it originally started.
Well, okay, you connected with them anyway.
We approached them.
We approached them, okay.
So you connected with them, and what happens from there?
They have a great a person on staff there that we work with, Sue Bangert, who kind of coordinates everything and really makes sure that we meet all of the criteria and requirements for going in and doing our workshops on a regular basis.
Okay, what does she do? She called you?
She
called your office?
We've called her, and now we have a regular ongoing connection. We have a schedule that's already set through the remainder of this year. And then we'll be setting the schedule for next year so that once a month we go in and do the workshop.